An interesting thought around ChatGPT, you might be thinking of this already yourself, is will ChatGPT and other AI systems replace Google in terms of search? And that's a great debate as far as whether that'll happen, but there's some things that Google search does well, better than ChatGPT, and there's some things that I think ChatGPT does better as well. So let's kind of compare the two real quickly so you get a feel for what system might work better than another for you. But it's an interesting thing. Here's an article I found interesting where, Microsoft hopes OpenAI's chatbot, which is ChatGPT, will make Bing smarter, their search engine, right? It's smart. ChatGPT's accuracy will be key to timing of any rollout. So you can see here's Microsoft getting involved in this right away, saying, how can we partner with ChatGPT to maybe make Bing better and lure people away from rival Google, as it says here. They're going to try to lure people away. So you can see some integration happening. But let's put the two to the test right now, and let's see what each does well. All right, so we got Google here, ChatGPT. Let the battle begin, right? So let's say I want to get pizza at a pizza place. There's several locations in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the United States, called Punch Pizza, right? So I want to know, are they open and where are the locations, right? So if I put that into ChatGPT, I might say, where is Punch Pizza in Minneapolis? And let's see what it says, right? And you can see, I am sorry, but we're unable to browse the web and do not have information about specific businesses or their locations. They even tell you, try things like Google Maps or Yelp or something like that, right? Because they're not a web browser, they're not web crawling, they're taking data and all sorts of reams and tons of information that's in their database that they've been building. And you can see from the course how it's really able to answer almost everything, but it's not a web type thing, right? So let's say if I wanted to, where is Punch Pizza in Minneapolis? ChatGPT couldn't do it. Well, do you think Google could do it? Of course they can, right? So here's Google. You got the different locations, what time they close. This one's temporarily closed. This one closes at 9 p.m. This one 8:30. And as I go through, you can even see where they're located on the map here in Minneapolis, right? And then if I wanted to know what was in the, types of pizzas they serve or more information or go to their homepage, that's where Google really shines in terms of that type of search, where ChatGPT doesn't. It's not a web crawling, web search type thing. Who knows? Maybe someday it will be. So there's always still going to be a place for search like that. But if I put in, let's say, what is Neapolitan pizza and how different than deep dish. All right, these are different types of pizzas. Deep dish, right? And I didn't really get close to spelling that right. There we go. All right, so ChatGPT, this is where ChatGPT would shine. I'm not, this is where I'm kind of getting that information. Also, Pizza Napolitana is from Naples, Italy. I have been to Naples, Italy. By the way, if you get a chance to go to Naples, it's awesome. Go to Naples. Pompeii is not too far from there. You can go to Pompeii. So there you go. There's my... Here's my travel guide. Go to Napoli and have real Neapolitan pizza. You'll be glad you did, right? And it talks about it's thin and soft with a puffed up edge and all sorts of stuff. And then deep dish pizza, by the way, is this, and real famous in Chicago, all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm getting all my answers. If I put that into Google and how different than and you can see it's still going, giving me more information. But let's just jump right to Google here, and we'll put that in. The same request, right? So I can find something like here's a nice site they'll tell me the difference, or at least give me a couple lines on it. I might have to search through it, but there's a little bit there. That's okay. What are the different pizza types? What's the best one? Well, now this is I'm going to have ads and that stuff, and here's quick links to a lot of different stuff, gluten-free pizza or whatever, right? So I can get at that information and might have to search a little bit. Now this was an easier search versus something like, write a web page for me or something. You can see how this does this real well. Like if I ask Google, like, create a tweet for a pizza restaurant, right? I'm going to put that in, and is this just going to give me information like 8 ways you should be using Twitter for restaurant marketing, and you can read an article and you get ads and accept all and cookies and all sorts of stuff. A lot of extra filler, all sorts of things, maybe some things to try to sell you stuff, Twitter marketing for restaurants, but it's not really creating the tweet. It's just giving me lots of information or whatever. Whereas if I did that, of course, with ChatGPT, which is more that conversational type thing, If I put that in, create a tweet for a pizza restaurant, not a lot of information, but then I get the come save your cravings here at this pizza restaurant, made fresh. You even got hashtags in there, hashtag pizza, hashtag foodie, hashtag yum, yummy, yum, yum, right? Stop by tonight or order online, right? I mean, they know nothing about my pizza place, but you can see I've already got it kind of started where this is, I'm reading all these articles and all sorts of things. So really what I'm trying to say is there are places for both. However, I think ChatGPT is going to make a tremendous amount of inroads in on Google. If I was, part of Alphabet, which owns Google, I would certainly be concerned. I'd be concerned that Microsoft Bing is starting to integrate ChatGPT. Would not be surprised to me, maybe at the time you're watching this, that Google is starting to do things. They're already doing things with AI. Google and Alphabet is already doing AI stuff. It's just a matter of would they integrate maybe with ChatGPT as one example. And I would be concerned. I mean, think about like YouTube. YouTube was this big dominant force. Then you had TikTok, and so TikTok has taken a lot of market share away from YouTube as an example, right? So I think there'll both be space for both, but it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. So a very, very interesting thing to be maybe watching. Either way, we're the winners, right? Especially if this is kind of free or at least ad support or however it might be done. ChatGPT is going to be charging at some point. I just feel it's going to happen. Who knows what will happen with Google? They've been free running ad-based. They've been struggling with that recently. So, all that would be more about thinking like, how can we benefit this? How can we benefit from this? But if you look at these use cases I've been sharing with you, depending on what the cost is, I certainly would be willing to pay money for the ChatGPT because it's made a great difference for me in terms of my own productivity and knowledge and all sorts of things. So I'm a big believer in it. It's just a matter of how much they might charge someday in the future. But there's space again for both Google, ChatGPT, and even Microsoft Bing.